Welcome back to Jersey Matters. I'm Larry Menti. We continue our conversation now about the New Jersey election that was, with Chris Russell, who is a Republican consultant, and Bill Pascrell III, a Democratic strategist. Let's talk about Steve Sweeney. We'll talk about all of the races in a second, but the Steve Sweeney race was very interesting because it seemed like the New Jersey Teachers Association, the Education Association, really thought they had a chance of taking him out. That didn't happen. First of all, was that a fair assessment of what happened?
Yes. Well, they tried. I mean, the $15 million we're talking about or more in that race, and they didn't come close. I mean, credit to Senate President Sweeney for holding back that challenge, but also a strange fight for the NJEA in that just across the way in South Jersey, Chris Brown won a Senate seat, a Republican won a Senate seat from the Democrats, that he escaped a lot of money that would have come into that district otherwise had it not been for that fight. So, and they actually came in on Brown's behalf, the NJEA a little bit. So interesting in that they aligned themselves with Republicans in that when they hadn't aligned themselves with Republicans on anything in the last 4 or 5 years. So a curious fight and a lot of money spent and wasted in a race that didn't end up being close.
Is the Chris Brown win the Republicans' biggest win of the night?
No doubt. Chris Brown is a very unique guy, big independent streak. Took on Christie before taking on Christie was popular, and I think it paid off for him. I
want to talk about Sweeney with you as well, but before we get to that, if Chris Brown was the big win for the Republicans, Phil Murphy obviously was the big win for the Democrats, but Vin Gopal was an interesting win in Republican-heavy Monmouth County.
He's been on a trajectory. He's a very young man that's a rising star in a party, and what I'm happy about it is many people prognosticated leading up to this, Larry, that a brown person could not win in that district. That says something about the complexity of the Jersey electorate. Murphy had coattails. That helped Vin Gopal, but Vin Gopal also ran an incredible race. He had the resources. And I'm sad to see Jem Beck go because they both should be in the Senate. But I agree with you. I think other than the Murphy win, that's our biggest mantle for this election.
What are we missing? What is the underlying theme? What do you take from this election that everybody else may not be writing about or seeing? Is there anything in particular?
I think three things. I think that it's incredible how Phil Murphy, in basically a 3-year period, has gone from a relative unknown to the next governor of New Jersey. And I don't think we oftentimes give credit to the campaign that was run. It's not always easy. Everybody thinks the person with money always wins. That's not always the case. There have been many instances, including John Corzine's re-elect, where the money didn't matter because Christie was well underfunded and beat him. So I think that's an extraordinary thing. I think where Democrats are winning in the state is also extraordinary. And the third thing, moving forward, that at least I'm taking out of this election, is that people are very frustrated with what's going on in Trenton and Washington, D.C., and this was a clear message to kind of change the direction we're going in both places.
Chris, what do you see?
Listen, I think voters are impatient. I think you saw change last year that no one saw coming. There's change now in New Jersey, and they're frustrated that things aren't getting done. I think for the New Jersey Republican Party, it's a rebuild time. It's rebuild and rebrand, figure out how to go forward. There are places that Democrats won in traditionally Republican areas like you're talking about. We need to get those places back, and we need to make a case to the places where we're not winning of why we can be a party that can govern.
It seems to you gain power by taking down the other side when they are in power. And there's a dangerous cycle. I think that's why people are so upset, is they see things never getting done because the political strategy is always take down the person that won. Is that fair?
That's very fair. That's very fair. We saw that the night Barack Obama was elected 9 years ago, when Mitch McConnell
and when Ronald Reagan was elected.
Well, let me make my point, though. Mitch McConnell said the night of the election.
I'm trying to make it not a partisan argument.
No, but I'm just reminding people of what happened there. Let's not forget history is important so we don't repeat the same mistakes. I could give an example on the D side or the R side. I happen to choose the one I did because it makes my blood boil what Mitch McConnell did, and I think he's an adept, great leader. If Phil Murphy builds consensus, and it's not just rhetoric, and I don't think it is, he will be a good governor, and the Republicans will come along. If he does, don't forget Chris Christie did that. He dragged a lot of Democrats along. he built consensus.
For a little bit.
And when he stopped, that's when he started to fail.
Response, and then we have to wrap up.
No, listen, I don't think he's going to govern as a centrist. I don't think he has to. I mean, he's going to go through. No, but listen, what I do think is both parties, the reason why what's happening is what you said, is that when both parties come in, they don't go to the center. They go left or they go right because they go to please their bases. I think Murphy will do the same thing. He's going to have too many people tugging at him to come left to go back to the center. We'll
and
find
I know
out.
we could continue, but we have to wrap this up. I really appreciate you both being here. Chris Russell, Republican consultant, Bill Pascrell III, Democratic strategist. When we come back, we're going to go issue to issue to find out from some people who are involved in these issues exactly what they think Phil Murphy is going to do as governor. But next, our Kimberly Kravitz went out to the polls to find out why people voted the way they did. Her report and our report on the issues when Jersey Matters continues.